Fanttik sent over this power station. It is a 300 watt hour power station with 300 watts of electrical output with some interesting features that make it competitive with today's offerings. There's also a coupon code in the description, so you can get tens of dollars off when buying this on Amazon. It comes with a 90 watt power brick, a car charger, and a USB-C to USB-C cable. They also sent out this solar panel, which has a proprietary connector on the panel side and an Anderson power pole on the power station side. Now let's go through some of the things that I've noticed that are notable. AC power is a pure sine wave. Anytime you're running AC power, the fan does run at full speed, and it's only I believe it's like a 60 millimeter fan. So it's a little bit loud, and I kind of wish it was maybe thermostatically or variable speed controlled. The AC power does work while it's charging, either through the DC jack, the power pole, and it has charging on USB-C. The Anderson power pole here on the back does use MPPT technology to charge the batteries. The Anderson power pole and the DC barrel jack use the same charging circuit, so you cannot charge it with solar and the DC jack at the same time. You can pick one or the other, and the USB-C in the front to charge at the same time. Operation of the power station is, I think, as simple as it should be. There's no Bluetooth connection, so what you see is what you get. You have one to turn on display, although I have it kind of bright in here, you may not be able to see that too well. It is huge. You have DC power, so that turns on all of these things. The power delivery does not need to have the DC on for the power delivery in to work, so you can charge it without the DC being on. AC is just a simple button press right there. On the back, there's one final button, and that's your light, and it has low, high, and SOS. I have actually used the flashlight on this quite a bit. I have a garage that doesn't have power, and I've used this in the back of my truck at night to light things up, and I found this extremely useful to just have around. Now, I will say that this is maybe a little bit too small to run any sort of appliance, like a refrigerator. Could run it if it's a small one, yes. Wouldn't run it very long though. It's only a 300 watt hour power station. They do say in the instructions that it can run a CPAP machine. Here's an everyday use for it. I'm trying to start the tractor because we got a lot of snow, and the battery's just not up to snuff. I haven't ran it in probably 2 or 3 months. So I have the battery charger plugged into it, pulling what, 80 watts, putting out, what is that, 2 amps, even though it's in 6 amp mode, so the battery must be almost full, but just a little bit weak. Alright, let's give it a shot. Not yet, we'll have to wait a little bit. Alright, it's been a few minutes, I managed to get the four-wheeler out. Let's give it a try. And they did include a solar panel with this. Unfortunately, it's not the prime season to be testing solar panels. Yeah, middle of winter. It's kind of, the sun is low in the sky. It is a solar panel rated to be left outside. A lot of solar panels are not. The solar panel itself does have a proprietary connector. You can see the port there. And the cable it has with it is not terribly long. I have a little bit of shading from the trees on it right now. So we're getting good output, 70 watts. That's impressive. The display is not sunlight readable. I can barely make that out. Of course, it is obscenely bright today. Now I was coming out to test what the charging rate is on the car charger, and it does require the vehicle to be on, but yeah, my battery's too low. I have a camera on. I leave it on all the time, and I suspect that has drained it. Plus, I haven't driven my truck in like 5-8 days. Here we go. Let's fix it. Now, I did already show this working on the tractor, but we'll do it again, huh? Because I'm actively using it for this. Might as well show you guys, right? All right, black on black, red on red. We're gonna put this on 6 amps. Plug it in right here. Okay. Now, that says 71%. Let's turn on the AC output. There we're in the 120 watts. Going through the battery charger into that. Let's go around to the truck and give it a shot, huh? No, not yet. Okay, let's try this again. 10 minutes. Oh! Ah! Got it. Took like 15 minutes. Alright, plugged into the truck. And the normal barrel jack connector right here. We're doing 75, I saw 80 watts at one moment. And clearly it's going around. Now, the manual does say that you cannot charge it up fully on a single 12 volt input from a vehicle that's running, but that has not been my experience. It does charge up to 100%. Okay, let's try something a little bit more. So it did that, but the moment that it draws too much, it kicks out and it'll throw an error. See, E17. So, not intended for power tool use, I'd say, at all. It's pretty easy. It doesn't hurt it. You just have to hit the AC button again, and then it'll go again. Maybe, or not. Try again. And here's another thing I wanted to try. This is a 1/10 horsepower utility pump. Turn on the AC. Takes a moment to engage. Huh. You see that? It's pulling 100 watts. It's pumping water. Oh, there we go. Now, can it pump high enough to get water out of a basement? Looks like it could. And it has a, oh, you can't see that really. I can see it. It has an estimated time to empty. It's at 91% and it's 3.3 hours. So it would pump for over 3 hours if you have a power outage during a storm in your basement. That may even pay for itself. Here are some accessories that you may consider if you were to buy this. Also maybe suggestions for the manufacturer to change out their charging setup. First, this is a USB cable, not this end here, that has a built-in power output display. Let me show you how that works. I'm going to plug it in here, and I have this other power delivery adapter here plugged in. Check that out. That would be a really cool cable to have supplied with this. The power output here does match here within good agreement. It's not charging at full power because the battery is almost full. So my thought is they could get rid of this stuff, and they already include this USB-C cable, and they just include a power delivery charging adapter and then a cigarette lighter power delivery power adapter. So this could replace all of this proprietary stuff, and the cool thing is that all of this stuff will work with other existing electronics that you own. And if you really wanted a lower profile, these screws are 4mm. Just take them out, you can pop the handle off, and now it's shorter. Put that back on. And I was able to take off the bottom with the same 4mm hex key and these longer screws. And here's what the bottom inside looks like. I will not be able to get into the electronics further inside. I believe that would require more disassembly The cells that are inside it are Samsung INR 18650 26E cells, 4x8. So this is running in a 4S configuration. As for temperature sensors, it does have a temperature sensor here on the BMS that goes to the cells. The power station electronics themselves have its own temperature sensors. There's two of them here. One goes to the cells here, and one goes to the cells back here. So that's excellent. The battery is plugged in with an XT, XT60? The full resting voltage is 16 volts, which means that the DC output here is regulated. So we will get full operational voltage all the time. Judging by the emptiness in here, you know, I can fit, there's a 2650 flashlight, fit it in there. There's a lot of empty space, so there's a lot of opportunity for making this thing smaller. And all of the relevant connectors here are secured with this elastic material. The AC ports are just friction fit with pins. And that's basically all I can discern from here. The battery itself is not cooled. As far as I can tell by the fan, there is a fan on one of these sides. We'll see if I can find it by shining a light through. Yes, there's a fan on this side. We can kind of see the circular profile there. And yes, we can kind of see inside there through one of the holes. There are some electronics in there, if you can imagine that. All right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I do like this unit. It does everything that it claims to. As for marketability, it's a little bit lacking in some spots. If you were to compare this to an EcoFlow River, you would get more inverter power output, and you wouldn't have a power brick to tag along. Aside from that, price-wise, it matches with all the other popular offerings by like Jackery and, well, not Bluetti. They don't even offer something of this size. They start at 500 watt hours. And the Anchor power station. All very competitive with this unit. I would say the best use case for this would be like a road trip. Maybe occasional power outages where you need a little bit of light and something to keep your electronics going. Say if you live in a city where a lot of the other stuff may be already supplied for you. This is one of the best folding solar panels that I've ever used, and I like how quickly you can just pick it up and go, because these legs here, they're magnetic and they have an elastic bungee to retain them and retract them. I really like how fast this folds up and goes. Just unplug it, pick up the handles, and go. Well, don't forget your power station, of course. Thank you. Bye.